Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for checking this out. I really appreciate it. So, a quick review for my new listeners and viewers. This is a channel that is hopefully one that will help men in their pursuit for success and how they're looked at by other people. We want that to be a positive thing. So this all started because I have, on occasion, been referred to as a Renaissance man, and was always meant as a compliment. And men in books or in movies, if they're referred to as Renaissance men, it's meant as a compliment. So I thought I would like to look into that and see exactly what that means and how that all came about, and what we might do to be referenced that way. Also, again, as a quick review, I have recovered from throat cancer, but the results of the treatment have left my voice a little difficult to understand. So, if you would, please turn on your closed caption feature on this video, and you'll be able to catch everything that you might not be able to understand from my speaking voice. Okay, so a Renaissance man. I melded all these things down to 5 characteristics. So these are the things I think that you will need to be considered a Renaissance man. You need to be well-groomed. I'm on vacation, by the way, so please excuse the relaxed clothing. Anyway, well-groomed, well-spoken, well-mannered, well-dressed, and have a well-rounded education. So in my previous videos, we've covered all those things in more detail, and we will go into even more detail as we move on in this series. Please hit subscribe if you would. I would appreciate it. I would really like to get this message out to more men because we need it. Well, all right. So today I'd like to talk a little bit more about being or having a well-rounded education. So if you've gone to college, you've had some gen ed courses, that's really good to give you a general knowledge of various things. You of course will have had a major, so in that, whatever you've majored in, that is something you'll have detailed knowledge in. That's what I recommend for the average man, whether you go to college or not. And that is to have a kind of a wide range, surface level range of a lot of knowledge, and you'll have a deeper, in-depth knowledge of certain areas. So if you go to college, it may be one that you majored in, but even if you don't go to college, there will be things that will just interest you. Maybe it's history, maybe it's math, perhaps it's music. Any of those areas that really interest you, those are things that you can take time and effort into being more knowledgeable about, more knowledgeable than the average person. But to be considered a Renaissance man, again, you need to have at least a surface knowledge of a lot of different things. So, and the reason is, you don't want to be caught in conversation at a party or any social setting where someone is talking about something and other people around, nobody's talking about, but you don't know. That's really not good. We want to spare you from that. So, how do you do that? A man cannot know everything. There's too much to know. So one man cannot know everything. So how we might look at this then is how to perhaps break this down so that the average person can get rolling on this and become more well-rounded in their education. So I would start with current events. So if you're, again, at a party or any kind of gathering, even a family gathering, that subject may certainly come up. Current events, most of the people there will have some interest in current events in one way or another. So I think that's a great place to start. All right. Under that heading, current events, we might want to break that down, again, to make this easier. So we might start with local events. So the events that impact your city, state, or province, right? And how do we learn about those things? How do we become more knowledgeable about those things? Well, you'll have a local newspaper there's a good chance you'll have a local newspaper. That's a great place to start. You can get a subscription so that you get the paper every day and can at least glance at it and see what the lead stories are. And again, if you see something that interests you, you can take time to read the whole article. Now, if you can't afford to, or if you don't have the time to look at a newspaper every day, go to the Sunday paper. So at least get a Sunday paper. You can get it subscribed, so it's delivered to your home in most places, or any gas station or even local library will have a copy of the Sunday paper. The Sunday paper is good because it tends to cover everything that they've covered during the week, plus many other things. But that perhaps, again, a good way for you to pick up knowledge on what's going on in your local area. Of course, local news is another great way to do it. Local news tends to be not so partisan, and they're really just covering the news items that impact you as their viewer. And you'll be, in a local area. So your local news stations will be a good place also to pick up knowledge of what's going on in your community. All right, so after local, we want to go to national. You want to have a knowledge of the current events on a national level. So there are a few newspapers that do this pretty well. USA Today is a paper that will cover national events, some international, but mostly national. New York Times, same way. Now, both those papers are pretty left-leaning, so you want to be aware of that. But the information is still usually good. Not always, but usually. CNN or Fox News are also good ways to learn about the national current events. Of course, CNN leans to the left, Fox leans to the right, so a mixture of those will probably be a pretty good way to find out what's really going on in the nation. After that, we would think about international news. Again, the news stations, Fox or CNN, will cover international news, so those would be good. There's Breitbart News is something you look at online. Also, there are many YouTube channels that will be discussing international events, so you can just kind of pace through your YouTube account and or perhaps do a search, and you'll have multiple channels that you can watch, and again, from both left and right sides of the spectrum, they're all there. So that's another good way to do it. So YouTube channels. All right. So here at the end of 2023, what are the current events that you should probably know? I would say finance would be one. We're in a inflationary time in our economy. The inflation is hurting a lot of people, particularly the middle class and the lower middle class. That's something you should know about. What's the inflation rate? What is the Fed trying to do about it? How it impacts your life and other people around you. So you might want to look at that and learn about that. And of course, there are two military actions going on. One in Israel and one in Ukraine. So whether you are rooting for one side or another, that's up to you, and really there's no basis for what this discussion covers. But you want to know some things about it. You want to know maybe how it started, where you're at currently in the life span of this military action, and what politicians are saying about it, how you think it might end. So, again, Israel and Hamas and Ukraine and Russia, those are two military actions that are very active on the news a lot, and if you don't know anything about those, you look pretty silly, and you certainly would not look like a Renaissance man. Whew. Okay, I try to get this done in a certain amount of time so that I don't waste your time. But again, please subscribe. This has been a hoot for me to do these videos, and I hope you're enjoying them as well. So have a wonderful day, and God bless.